Welcome. My name is Kim Konofsky, and I am the Willard Librarian. And tonight we're going to be discussing the Individuals with Disabilities Education Improvement Act that was put together in 2004. The Individuals with Disabilities Education Improvement Act, or IDEIA, was actually built off of the Individuals with Disabilities Act of 1990, or IDEA. It is a federal statute that provides rules for special education, and it is actually a four-part legislature that ensures students with a disability are provided with a free, appropriate public education according to their specific needs. Now, every student with a disability has a different need, and so it is important that that is what we're looking at for each individual student. Child find. All students within a district's jurisdiction must be located, identified, and evaluated so that the student can receive the appropriate education and appropriate services. A school district can also not turn away or deny services to a student with a disability, even if the district feels the severity of the disability is beyond the scope of the district. At that point, a team must come together and identify how the district will provide services for each student with a disability. Is it that they need to hire new staff members? Do they need to educate staff members that they currently have? Or do they need to reach out to another organization? So they need to locate all the students, assess them properly, and work together so that they can provide the best services for the student. Once the students have been located and they need to have an assessment, they need to make sure that the assessment is unbiased and administered by a trained and knowledgeable administrator. If at all possible, it's best if it's given in the student's native language. Multiple measures are needed to determine if this is a qualifying disability, and eligibility is determined by two factors. The disability must be on the given list, and the student needs the services to succeed. So it isn't just something that might help the student, it's something that's required for the student to actually succeed. If either of these is not met, then services will not be established under this statute. An Individualized Education Program, or IEP, is the legal document that schools are required to provide. And this is what teams work together to figure out what is going to work best for a student. It describes the current levels of academic achievement and functional performance of the student, and it creates an opportunity for all staff and guardians to work together to provide the best educational opportunities for the child to succeed. All lessons that educators will use are formed while looking at this document, so teachers will often refer back to each student's IEP when putting together lesson plans for the classroom. Within the IEP, it will be discussed what is the least restrictive environment for a student, the LRE. Students with disabilities should be included in the general education classroom as much as possible. Most of the time, students with disabilities will be within their regular general education classroom with their peers. They're usually taken out only if they need a little bit of extra support. Maybe they need a specific lesson taught by a special education teacher, or the supplementary aids or services just can't adequately provide for the student to have an appropriate education. But most of the day, they are found within their general education classroom. Parent participation. Parents, guardians, and caregivers are given advance notice of all meetings regarding their child. It's important that they're involved in decision-making processes. It's important that they are a part in all decisions that are being made. And research has shown there's a very strong link between the student showing improvement and the parents taking place in the process of creating the individualized education program. There's a legal requirement that all students receive just and fair treatment, and that's called due process. Guardians can file for a due process hearing if they feel that the school is not providing the least restrictive environment, or if they disagree with the district's identification, evaluation, or placement of the child. It's also important that when the process is gone through and when the standards are in place, that the student is held to high academic achievement standards. It's important that accommodations are made or possibly modifications, but we want students with a disability to reach these high academic standards rather than lower the expectations. That is the IDEIA kind of in a nutshell. What questions do you have for me today?